From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Hi, my name is Margaret Kruesi. I'm a cataloger and folklorist here at the American Folklife Center. And we're going to look at some of our Literatura de Cordel collections. Cordel are pamphlets, literature, chapbook literature that is a purely popular literature. They are often illustrated by woodcuts, and we have a woodblock here to look at too. And one of the most famous cordelistas or poets and woodcut artist is Jose Borges, and 3 of these are his work.
So they call the poets cordelistas?
Cordelistas, yes.
Oh, well, if you don't do cordel, then you're not a cordelista. But they're known as poets?
They are poets. There's a very specific poetic form in these. You can see the stanzas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does have a particular
It
form
has a
to
very definite form. And they also sing these in the marketplace, so they can be both poems and songs.
So then the poet's a singer and a chapbook artist, a cordelista.
And a publisher often. They
And a
publish
publisher.
their own work. So it's truly a folk tradition. And they compete with one another. They have competitions.
And there's an audience.
Yes, there's an audience. It's called Literatura de Cordel because the cordel is a string, and these are usually displayed in the marketplace as literature that literally hangs from a string.
And then this work here?
This is from a series about the crucifixion of Christ. So some of the themes are secular, others are very religious. A lot of them honor local saints, and this one is about Christ coming before Pontius Pilate.
This is very big because the cordelistas, they're artists, they have their own community, they do art with the woodblock, and they're out in the mercados, the marketplaces, and people come to them for these materials, for the chapbooks, and they also respond to what's going on, and they also honor the city religiously or the town. That's a big role. And are they seen like that? Are they seen as major figures in their town?
There's a revival in this type of literature, and now it's moving into the internet and they're selling CDs. There's a lot of interest in the form and in moving it into a totally new modern direction as well. So some of the people that are doing it now are actually big names. And then, of course, Borges is a very big name because of the simplicity and the directness of these illustrations that he made and the political astuteness of them. So that he didn't start out as a big name, but by the time the year 1999 came around and the library was celebrating its 200th anniversary, the government of Brazil decided to give a gift to the Library of Congress. All countries around the world were giving special anniversary gifts to the library. And the gift that Brazil gave was a set of woodblock cuts by Borges, which is one of these is here. So these were full color, beautiful works of art that would be of, you have here the chapbook, cheap book, and you have here this great piece of art. This tells a story about the crime of deforestation of the Amazon in Brazil.
That's pretty amazing because there's commentary, poetry about what's going on in the politics of the city, the religious layers of the place, and then there's talking about the rainforest. So it's local and it's kind of regional, environmental and political, and poetry.
And poetry.
and the woodblock. Is that a machine or what?
It's all hand. You can take a close look. Somebody did cut that out by hand.
I'm really inspired by all this. Chapbooks have always been something that all poets want to do. It's kind of like a requirement, and it's kind of beginning to fade away because of the software, the digital age, and all that. But I think it's still a requirement to do a chapbook, because otherwise you missed probably like 80% of what it is to be a poet. Because you have to create your own stuff, right?
Right. Our large collection of Cordel is over 10,000 items. And this particular collection that these are from is about 300 Cordel, plus these wood blocks. And we don't collect the wood blocks.
collect
It would
those.
just happen to be that the collector of these materials, Saul Banderman, who was one of the originators of our Cordel collection for the library, which originated in the Rio office. He provided the impetus to start collecting Cordel, and he did his own research on this subject and also donated his own materials to the library as well.
Beautiful. I love this kind of work. Chapbooks and little mini micro magazines. Because I don't think we have chapbook poets that do
art.
this.
Yeah. Well, not all of these poets do art either. Sometimes they have a team where one person does the art, or one person specializes in art and the other person does the poetry.
That's also unusual for us in the United States. Usually we work together, but when we do our work of art, it's usually solo.
Yeah.
And so to work together on something like this is most interesting. And we can learn a lot from the Cordelistas. Yeah, so we can start a new Cordelista movement. And you're going to be the head of it, okay? And I just scribble stuff, and then you put it all together, and you organize the community.
No, I think that the poet makes the poetry.
And then you get to teach Portuguese, okay? You get to teach Portuguese.
You get to teach this a special form of the stanzas and the way they work. You'll have to learn all
I'll
of
have
that.
to learn, okay. I'll have to stay here and learn that.
You have to,
okay.
you have to stay at least a year.
So that's a deal.
All right.
That's a deal.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.